Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. Our next guest says that burnout can often be caused by deeper challenges that go beyond just feeling overworked. Here to share what that means and how we can help break the cycle, we welcome back business coach and licensed mental health counselor, Jennifer Gray. It's so nice to see you.
Oh, yes.
What a fascinating topic.
Yes, it is. An important one, too.
So burnout may not necessarily be connected to being overworked?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, oftentimes I think we think about overworking, right? People who are staying out too late, doing all the office hours.
Right.
But I actually think that's more of like a symptom of a deeper issue, which is self-doubt.
Oh.
Not feeling good enough, having lower self-esteem. Sometimes we pick this up where over time as kids in different places.
Yeah.
And that can be exacerbated when you have specific roles, especially that might have a lot of responsibility. Being a mom, being a business owner, employee, can really cause some long-term burnout.
So yeah, this can really stem from things that aren't even connected to your work life in the first place. And that can be really hard to get to the bottom of.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It can definitely be difficult to figure out, especially because we're so used to it, right?
Right.
It's kind of ingrained in our culture.
And then does that become a vicious cycle when you're not entirely clear on what's happening?
Absolutely.
We're going to switch your microphone really quickly, hopefully,
Sure.
so we can
Yeah, no problem.
hear better. We keep having scratchy microphones today. So vicious cycle.
Yes, absolutely. We absolutely get stuck in this place where that's just kind of what we're used to doing. It becomes our default, and then we get stuck in this cycle of exhaustion and then also lack of fulfillment, which only further exacerbates our self-esteem.
That is so tough. And then, yeah, kind of compensating for the self-doubt, doing more work, like you could just get trapped that way.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think you can find really critical ways that you just continue to get stuck in it more and more because of just having to go back to the same default.
Well, and it can really impact you, I would imagine, psychologically and then physically as well when you're not really realizing all the effort that you're putting in.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point. I think oftentimes we think of burnout, we think of anxiety, exhaustion, depression, things like that, but it even really causes like a lot more deeper issues. If we are so busy constantly focusing on this role that we have, we might lose our identity in it. If we try to pull back, find some balance, find some harmony, that can be really difficult if we don't have a sense of self outside of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that. So let's talk about some ways that we can maybe break that cycle and pull ourselves out of it. How about work like you're already successful?
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, first of all, ask yourself, what would it look like if I were to be successful already? How would I interact with people? Who would I interact with? How would I speak? How would I show up in the room? Hustle culture absolutely wants us to believe that the most successful people are grinding 24/7, and that's just not the case. Successful people know their worth, they know their value, and so if you can just hold a little bit of that and almost pretend in a sense of this is what it would feel like, you might notice that you're able to show up a little bit differently.
Okay, that's a great place to start. Okay, so what to do if you feel like you just can't rest?
Yes, if you cannot rest, I would say let's take a baby step, right? If we're, knocking off the calendar everything that we've scheduled in to try and enjoy ourselves, let's just take 60 seconds. Let's try and take a deep breath, no distractions, no phone. And if you are like screaming out of your body, you want to pick up the phone immediately, that's probably a good sign to know that this is definitely a self-doubt issue. This is going deeper than just not being productive enough or not showing up the way you want to.
Sometimes being alone with your own thoughts is a little bit scary.
Absolutely, especially when those thoughts are super negative and they come along with some pretty uncomfortable feelings. And so, yeah, if you are really struggling to even sit for that 60 seconds, it lets me know that you probably have some sort of dysregulated nervous system.
Okay.
It's not just about that you can't think yourself out of this problem.
Okay, that's kind of comforting that, there's other things happening here. Okay, and then what if nothing seems to work? Where should you turn or go from there?
Yeah, absolutely. I always encourage people to start with some somatic therapy, and somatic meaning about your body, about your emotions. So that might be a breathwork class with a local healer, or it might mean going to a licensed therapist who practices EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. There's plenty of other therapies out there that are somatic, but this is a really great one. Because it helps people not only regulate their nervous system, but get their brain and body to be on the same page. a dysregulated nervous system, you can't outthink it. So you might be the smartest person, you might be able to tell your friends how to show up in different ways, but you really want that brain and body to be working together, and so those need to kind of come aligned before you can take those more actionable steps.
That makes a lot of sense. Hey, thank you so much. It was great chatting with you. Thanks for rolling with our
Hannah.
microphone changes.
Absolutely, no worries.
Okay, we'll have more about Jennifer on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.